So this stripper is in big trouble. Now the stripper's name is Marjorie, and Marjorie's 24 when this story starts, and she's living and working in Las Vegas. And here's the thing about Marjorie. She's an adult dancer. So of course, a lot of men find her very attractive and will give her almost anything she wants, including money. So she starts dating a lot of wealthy men. And then she'll marry some of them, and she'll enjoy the lifestyle that they provide. I think she got married like 7 times or something like that. But then, not long after, she'll divorce these guys. And this becomes her pattern. And she does this over and over and over again. But then, one night in 1985, while she's working, dancing at the club, she meets this guy, Jay. And Marjorie thinks Jay is fine, and Jay thinks Marjorie is naked. And so they go out a little bit, a few dates or whatever, and Jay is very into her right away. And he tells her that he wants to start a serious relationship with her. But, unfortunately for him, he's not a wealthy man. And Marjorie prefers to date guys with money. So, she turns him down. And after that, poor Jay just disappears from her life. And around 8 years pass, and it's now 1993. And during this time, Jay is driving through Vegas one day, minding his own business, and he looks up and he sees a billboard and Marjorie's on it. I assume the club she's working at put her face on a billboard as a promotion or something. But anyway, well, he sees it and he contacts her and they meet up for a drink and they start talking again. And Jay tells her that he is now a successful businessman dealing in art and jewelry and stuff, which he is. He's actually become quite wealthy since they last dated. And surprise, surprise, Marjorie is suddenly attracted to him. And she wants a relationship. So pretty quickly, these two start spending a lot of time together, and they start dating. And Jay is still very much in love with her, and he tells her that he wants to get serious, and he wants to start a family with her. However, Marjorie isn't actually able to have kids due to endometriosis, which means that she won't be able to give him the family that he wants. But Jay, he's a good dude. I mean, he doesn't mind. He still loves her. And he tells her that he knows about some fertility treatments that could help her get pregnant, and that if she agrees to marry him, he'll support her through the entire process. And for Marjorie, this sounds like a great deal. So she's like, all right. So Marjorie moves from Las Vegas all the way to Phoenix, Arizona to be with Jay, and the two of them, they get married. And Jay keeps his promises. He gives her the lifestyle that she wants. He provides for her financially. He even buys her a new car. And soon she begins her fertility treatments. And those treatments end up working. And in 1996, Marjorie gets pregnant and they have a baby. So now everything seems perfect. Jay's happy, Marjorie's happy, and they're raising their kid. It's like some kind of stripper fairy tale. And 8 more years pass, and it's now 2004, and this is where everything changes. Because by this point, Marjorie has started to get bored with this marriage. She feels like she's gotten everything she wanted out of it. Money, a nice life, a kid. So she starts cheating on Jay. Like, she'll smash with other guys on the side. Sometimes she'll even start a whole-ass relationship with other guys on the side. One guy she meets at the gym, and they start smashing, and they start talking about plans to run away together. Although, they never do. Regardless, Marjorie feels like she doesn't need Jay anymore. And she doesn't want him finding out about all her affairs, because then he might divorce her, and she'll have to go back to stripping. And she doesn't want that. I mean, that would mean giving up the lifestyle that she's grown accustomed to. And what she really wants out of all this is Jay's estate, which is worth an estimated $1.5 million. And the only way for her to get that estate is for Jay to die. And so she decides to make that happen. And here is where the story gets dark. One day, Jay leaves for a business trip to Florida. But while he's traveling, a hurricane hits, and he has to cut his business trip short. So he leaves Florida and he heads back home to Phoenix. Once Marjorie hears that he's coming back, she realizes this is her chance to get rid of him once and for all. So later, Jay arrives home, and he pulls his car into the garage. And just before he enters the house, boom, Marjorie appears out of nowhere, and she's got a gun. And suddenly, blam, 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 she shoots him, and that, unfortunately, kills him. And so now there's a body in her garage, and she has to get rid of it. So Marjorie gets Jay, and she puts him in the freezer that's there in the garage. Hours later, once he's completely frozen, she gets a jigsaw and she cuts his body into smaller pieces, and she puts him back in the freezer. And so now, since she finally has Jay out of the way, she starts spending all his money and using his credit cards. And within a few days, she's bought herself all kinds of stuff. A $12,000 baby grand piano. She repaints the whole house. She buys brand new patio furniture. She takes $45,000 out of his business account, just for herself. Meanwhile, Jay's family, they haven't seen or heard from him since he left for Florida. So they start to get worried. And they hit up Marjorie and they ask her where he is. And she lies to them. She tells them, oh, he's away on a business trip. But the family members, they aren't buying it. They've never really trusted Marjorie anyway. They've always thought she was shady. So they never stop questioning her and pushing her to report him missing to the police. 2 weeks later, Marjorie finally gives in because she's starting to look suspicious. And so she reports Jay missing. So now the police are involved and they start investigating and looking for Jay. Now, while this is going on, Marjorie keeps draining his bank accounts and she tries to claim his estate. However, there's a problem with that. She can't access his estate without a death certificate. And there's no death certificate because Jay hasn't been officially declared dead. As far as police know, he's only missing at this point. So now Marjorie has to change her plans. Now she wants someone to find Jay's body. So she goes to the hardware store and she buys a large container. Then she takes Jay's torso from the freezer and she places it in that container. Then she takes it out to a local desert area and she dumps it there, knowing that someone will eventually find it. Well, sure enough, soon a transient man out there looking for scrap metal, he finds the container with the body in it and he immediately calls the police. So now, instead of investigating this as a missing person, police start investigating this as a homicide. And the first person they're suspicious of is Jay's wife, Marjorie. But they can't just go and arrest her. They don't have any evidence she did anything wrong. And without hard evidence, their case is weak. And so it's starting to look like Marjorie might actually get away with all this. Until police look into the plastic container Jay's body was found in. And they go to the hardware store where it was purchased, and there they start looking at security footage, and sure enough, they see footage of Marjorie buying the container just 2 days after Jay died. And so, bam, she gets arrested. Here's her mugshot. And ultimately, she goes to trial, and she's found guilty, and she gets sentenced to life in prison.